welcome aboard the Fantasy Fast Track today, and happy Monday. Congratulations, you've now made it past the first week of training camp. Today, just to get started with some news, Jonathan Taylor has some new reports that have came out over the weekend that he has been reported by multiple sources to have suffered a back injury in the offseason in his own personal workouts. And that came out, and then about 3 to 4 hours later, Jonathan Taylor reported that he has not suffered a back injury, that those are just false reports. So that is something definitely to keep an eye on. As far as other injuries go, Joe Burrow has strained his calf and will be out anywhere from, I believe the report said 4 to 6 weeks, but it is kind of just up in the air with that. We also have Jalen Ramsey. He is torn his meniscus, and he had surgery, and apparently the timetable is not till around December. So the Dolphins will be missing him for quite a while, and hopefully he makes it back in one piece. As far as other camp news, there's been plenty of hype around more players, especially the likes of Calvin Ridley. There's a video of him running routes, and he clearly can run faster than everybody else. Looks like he's in really great shape, and looks like he may be somebody that will looks like he will be somebody that will probably be moving up draft boards early on. The topic of discussion today is going to be quarterbacks, and we're looking at 5 quarterbacks that I'm interested in, and quarterbacks are outside the consensus top 12 according to the Fantasy Pros rankings, and I really think they will definitely help in a late round. So one thing to keep in mind before we get started here in these at the quarterback position, there are a few stats that I've found that kind of made me turn into more of a late round QB drafter instead of trying to pick up these instead of trying to force my hand at picking up these early QBs. When it comes to the difference in between a QB5 and a QB10 in the recent years, this is over the last 3 years, the point differential really isn't that much. If you go back to 2020, the point differential between a QB5 and a QB10 is only a total of 34 fantasy points over the whole entire season. And then if you go into 2021, it's 36 fantasy points. And then last year, it was even tighter than ever. It was only 24 fantasy points, the difference between Geno Smith and I think coming in number 10 was Jared Goff. So there is a great opportunity to just pick up a later quarterback, or maybe pick up 2. And a lot of it is, if you can get somebody that is consistent and healthy and can pass for a fair amount of yards, such as somebody like Geno Smith was a big surprise, but the yardage difference between Geno Smith and Jared Goff, it was almost the exact same. They were within 200 passing yards of each other. Both of them passed for around 4,400 to 4,500 yards, and as long as you can get a fair floor of touchdowns, they're certainly not going to hurt you. They really won't have their big blow-up games, but at that point, if you're not able to pick up, the Jalen Hurts, the Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, then really there is no reason not to just wait on it and pick up one of these quarterbacks late. QB strategy, or definitely in a superflex if you're looking for a QB2. And found a few interesting stats, but really it's just the situations that these quarterbacks are in, and they have a great opportunity to to really show up and show out. My QB number 5 is Brock Purdy. He is the second year quarterback out of the San Francisco 49ers, and he is recovering well from his surgery that he had, and he is throwing the football in training camp. And so he has a great opportunity to succeed. Not only does he have a great coach that will put him in the opportunity to be there, he will also have a lot of elite talent around him that can make lots of scoring happen. Like his touchdown rate last year was, I believe it was 11.3%, which is outlandish in the games that he played. He played in 9 games and threw for, I believe it was 12 touchdowns. So he can really make things happen with his arm. He is a pocket passer. He won't be getting a lot of rushing yards, but he will be able to make it work. And when you're looking for a very, very, very late quarterback, he is one that you can find success with. Just a couple of stats that I found that were interesting. So in his last 6 games, he was a very efficient quarterback, and he had an average of 115 passer rating. He is currently being drafted at around 170, which is around close to the 15th round. So you can pick him up as your last pick, or sometimes I'm sure in some leagues he's not even going to be picked up. Quarterback number 4 is somebody that has been in the top 10 of quarterbacks within the last few years, and that is Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill has a great opportunity to succeed with the likes of DeAndre Hopkins coming over. He will have a wide receiver 1 and has an up-and-coming wide receiver 2 as well in Treylon Burks. The Titans' defense has struggled in recent years, so there will be a likelihood of them needing to pass. Now, they do have Derrick Henry, which he will probably get his rushing, will probably get his 25 touches per game. But this last year, they did kind of lean on Derrick Henry in the passing game, which also gives great opportunity for just a dump-off pass and him to take it to the house. That's just kind of the way that Derrick Henry is. But with Ryan Tannehill in his recent season as a QB1, as in he was in the top 12 QBs, he boasted real efficient numbers, and he also has always had a floor of rushing touchdowns. Just a little bit of trivia for you. Who do you think has more rushing touchdowns over the last 3 years? Ryan Tannehill or Lamar Jackson? You guessed it, Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill has had 1 more rushing touchdown in the last 3 years than Lamar Jackson. And that's even counting the fact that Ryan Tannehill only played 12 games this last year. Of course, Lamar Jackson only played 12 games last year too. So there is great opportunity for him to succeed. He had a 42% first down percentage, which is kind of crazy to think about, but in the last few years, that is one stat that he's always been in the top of that category for quarterbacks, which means he moves the ball. They will be getting down the field, and they will be getting into the red zone and being able to score those important touchdowns, which is important for fantasy. Number 3 is Jared Goff. Jared Goff, playing for the Lions right now, has great opportunity to continue to throw and throw and throw. He passed for 4,400 yards this last season and has tremendous upside. He had 29 passing touchdowns last year. Jamal Williams scored 14 rushing touchdowns last year inside the 10-yard line. So if we even get half of those touchdowns going the other way, Jared Goff will just finish as the quarterback 5 or maybe even the quarterback 4, depending on the format. So be looking for him late in drafts, and you can pick him up if you don't pick up an early quarterback, or you can probably even pick up if you like to draft 2 quarterbacks in a single quarterback league, and definitely be picking them up in super flex. The number 2 quarterback on the list is Geno Smith. Geno Smith is currently ranked as the QB 14, and he is being drafted behind people like Daniel Jones and quarterbacks that really shouldn't be ranked ahead of him. He has just got 2 more pass catching threats in JSN and Zach Charbonnet. But there really is no reason for him not to succeed this year. A lot of people are probably knocking him because of his previous years. Yes, this is really the only year that he has really shown that he can succeed as quarterback versus his other 7 years in the league where he struggled a lot. But the Seahawks they've pretty much pointed in the direction of Geno. They didn't go and pick up another quarterback when they had plenty of draft picks where they could have at least shot for somebody like a Will Levis or somebody like that in the first round. They're going to stand behind him, and they're going to let him pass. He had 570 pass attempts, which is more than Russell Wilson ever had in his career, except for one time. So they're willing to let Geno cook, and with all the talent that is around him and the great coaching and Pete Carroll, they're going to find themselves near the end zone, picking up all those fantasy touchdowns, and he's going to pass for a great amount of yards. He actually has a fair rushing floor. He had almost 400 rushing yards last year. So he isn't just your average, just run-of-the-mill pocket passer. He will get out and run if he needs to pick up that extra 8 to 10 yards for the first down. And he's definitely somebody you can rely on late in drafts, or even just have him as your QB1 in single quarterback leagues. My quarterback number 1 is Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is currently ranked as the QB 23, and you can pick him up late in drafts because his value really has fallen because of his ACL injury. Currently, his timetable is kind of in the air. He's just saying he's taking it day by day, and they are just seeing where everything is going to go. He hasn't had any training camp reps and hasn't really been on the field. He is able to run in a straight line. It doesn't seem like he's able to cut. They haven't really pushed that. And a lot of the hurdles he's having with his ACL is all mental hurdles. But if he can make it back and be able to play week 1, he will be able to put out a lot of fantasy points. The defense of the Cardinals is terrible. It is definitely in the bottom of the league. And the Cardinals they're on track to have the number 1 pick this year. So if they're going to be losing games, Kyler Murray is going to be throwing like crazy, and he is going to be able to pick up a lot of fantasy points. He's already proved in recent years that he can finish as a QB1 per week, and also he finished as the QB2 just 2 years ago. Granted, he didn't have this ACL injury, and he had DeAndre Hopkins with him. But we will see how it goes, and if you see that he is starting to make more progressions towards to playing week 1, and his draft capital is still way down, it may be worth waiting to pick him up to be able to have your QB really late, and he has QB1 upside. Well, that's it today for us. If you have any questions about rankings, different things, hit them in the comments below. I'll try and answer them as much as I can. If you got any value with this, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, and we will see you guys next time.